Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the wonderful world of jewelry making, where we take gemstones, glass beads, and metals and turn them into works of art. Now today's project is not exactly a work of art, but it's definitely very pretty, elegant, and trendy at the same time. We're going to be making that gorgeous choker that you saw in the intro, and we're going to be using the beads that came in Didi's Deluxe Bead Box for the month of August. And my cat Boo Boo just jumped on my lap right now. Let me put my microphone on my blouse. Here he is. Here he is. He really hates to be on camera. He really does. But anyway, guys, like I was saying, we're going to be using the beads that came in that gorgeous box. I absolutely love that box this month. Oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. And if you're not familiar with that box, I'll leave a link to the website down below in the description section of this video. And I'll leave a coupon code as well in case you're interested. But anyway, guys, I have my beautiful cat Boo Boo on my lap, and I'm actually a little bit worried about him because he hasn't been eating very much today, so I don't know what's going on with him. He is a senior cat. I have to keep reminding myself of that. So anyway, I'm keeping a close watch on him. And whenever he wants to get on my lap, I let him do it no matter what I'm doing. That's what you have to do with senior cats because they get very clingy as they get older. Well, not all cats do, but some do. So anyway, guys, if you love pearls, you're going to love today's tutorial. We are going to be doing some bead weaving, but don't panic because it's actually going to be very easy. It's probably the easiest form of bead weaving you'll ever see. And if you're a beginner, this is the perfect project for you because if you're thinking about getting into bead weaving, this is the way to do it. Now, before we start, I'd like to remind you that if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please think about doing so because it really does help my channel and it helps me to stay motivated to create more videos for you. And don't forget that I always leave a list of all the materials down below in the description section of this video, along with timestamps in case you want to skip forward to any portion of the video. And as always, I'll model the necklace at the end of the video, so stick around for that. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And here we have Didi's Deluxe Bead Box for the month of August. The name of this box is the Burlesque Lounge. Let's go ahead and select the beads. Now with all these gorgeous pearls, I just couldn't resist it. I knew I had to design something with pearls. I may be tempted to make another piece because the beads in this box are absolutely stunning. It was actually a very difficult decision to make because I didn't know if I should design with the pearls or with the rest of the beads or a combination of the two. But I got a vision in my head about a choker necklace and I had to go with that. And I'm definitely going to use this component right here. Look how beautiful that is. That is so pretty. It's listed as a Victorian Style Pearl Pendant and it measures 30 by 25 millimeters. I'm going to be using these beads right here. These are 6 millimeters in size and the color is Oyster. And I want to use these as well. These are actually 4 millimeters in size and the color is Pearl White. And if I have time, I'll make some earrings. So I'm going to use these two components. Aren't these gorgeous? These are 18 karat gold plated cubic zirconia fan shaped connectors. And that's it from this box. We're going to be using some size 11/0 seed beads. And these are Miyuki rounds. And the color is silver, as you can see. It's actually galvanized silver. I'm going to be using some fireline. And this is 8-pound fireline. The color is crystal. And this is by Beadsmith. You'll need a piece of chain, and this piece is about 8 inches long, but you can make yours as long as you want to. We're going to be using it to embellish the choker necklace a little bit more, and we're actually going to hang a dangle from the bottom of it. You'll see later on how I'm going to do that. And besides all these materials, I'm going to be using some jump rings, a lobster clasp, and a head pin, and maybe some thread guardians or thread protectors, but we'll go over those items later on. So now that we've gone over the materials, let's go ahead and get started. As you can see, I have my size 11/0 seed beads, my 4 millimeter pearls, and my 6 millimeter pearls, and I have 2 wire guardians or thread guardians. And I also have my thread. I cut myself a wingspan's worth, which is about 60 inches. I threaded a needle on both ends, and these are size 10 needles. I'm also using this kind of mat. It's a little bit different than what I normally use. The one that I normally use is actually made out of suede, and it's underneath this one. But I wanted a foam mat so that I could poke my needle into it. I'm going to start by passing my thread through one of these wire guardians. I'm going in this end. And now I'm going to go through this end. And I'm going to slide it all the way down to the middle of my thread. So let me bring these needles together and find the middle of my thread. So there it is in the middle. And now I'm ready to begin. I'm going to start by sliding 2 of these seed beads onto this needle and 2 onto this needle. And I'm going to pass my needle through one of these 4mm beads. And now I'm passing the other needle through the same 4mm bead in the same direction. And bring it down. And this is what you should have. And I'm going to load another 2 seed beads onto one needle and 2 onto the other needle. And a 4mm bead and 2 more seed beads onto this needle. So let me just show you what I just threaded. As you can see, I have 2 seed beads, a 4mm bead, and another 2 seed beads on this thread. So now I'm going to do the same thing on this other thread. I already have 2 seed beads. I'm going to load a 4mm bead and another 2 seed beads. And I don't know if you guys can hear, but it's actually raining outside. I hope it's not too distracting. Let me show you what I have so far. So that's what I have so far. So far, so good. And now I'm going to load a 6mm bead onto one needle. And I'm going to take the other needle and go through the same bead in the opposite direction. And pull. So that's what you should have. So once again, I'm going to load 2 seed beads, a 4mm bead, another 2 seed beads, and bring it down. And now I'm going to load the same thing on this needle, 2 seed beads, a 4mm bead, and another 2 seed beads. It's actually pouring outside right now. Bring it down, and now a 6mm bead, and now I'm going to take this other needle and go in through the bead in the opposite direction. And pull. You do have to be careful that you don't get tangled up. But this is what we have so far. And that's basically it, guys. I'm just going to keep repeating the same pattern over and over until I get the length that I want, which is going to be approximately 12 inches. So let me do one more round with you. Once again, I'm going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads, 1 4mm round, another 2 11-0 seed beads on this needle. So this is what I have. I'm going to put the needle down, pick up the other needle, pick up 2 11-0 seed beads, a 4mm round, another 2 11-0 seed beads. So that's what I have on this needle. And now I'm going to pick up a 6mm pearl. I'm going in this end. And now I'm taking the other needle and going in through the end that I just exited from. So I'm going in the opposite direction. and pull. And this is what we have so far. Very simple, and it's very repetitive. And don't worry, we are going to go back and reinforce the end later on. We're actually going to reinforce the whole thing a couple of times. One thing I did want to show you guys, some of these pearls are actually stuck together like this. If you come across this issue, you can use your flush cutters and very gently separate them like that. So I'm going to continue building my necklace until I get a total of 29 of these 6mm pearls. Now your necklace may have to be longer. The best thing to do is to measure your neck and then go from there. And don't forget that the clasp and the jump rings are going to add to the overall length. The nice thing about this design is that you can add beads whenever you want to. So if you get to a length of 12 inches and you test it out and it's too tight, you can always add more beads. So I'm going to keep loading these beads, like I said, until I get a length of 12 inches. And I'm going to do it off camera to save time. And I'll see you in a few moments. As you can see, I've reached a point where I've woven in 29 of these 6mm beads. I know you can't see the whole thing. Let me just do this. And right now it measures a little bit under 12 inches. By the time I add these beads at the end, it'll be about 12.5 inches, something like that, which is perfect for me. Like I said, you might want to add another round here if you need something a little bit longer. So basically we're going to finish the same way that we started. Let me just show you. Here are my two needles, this one and this one. I'm going to load two 11/0 seed beads, one 4mm round, and let me do the same thing on this side. Two 11/0 seed beads and a 4mm round. Let me just show you what we have so far. This is what we have. And now I'm going to load another two 11/0 seed beads and one 4mm round. And with the other needle, I'm going to load another two 11/0 seed beads. And I'm going to go through the same 4mm round in the same direction. Just like that. Let me just pull it down and I'll show you. So that's what you should have. And now we're going to add this thread guardian or wire guardian. So I'm going to load two 11/0 seed beads on this needle. And I'm going to go through the guardian through one end. Just like that. And I'm going to take my needle and go through the other little leg of the wire guardian or the thread guardian. They're mostly known as wire guardians in the jewelry industry. Let me snug it up. So that's what you should have. And now let me take this needle. I'm going to load two 11/0 seed beads. And I'm going to go through the end that I just exited out of, like this. And down through the other end. And through the two 11/0 seed beads and the 4mm round. And the other two 11/0 seed beads. Just like that. And I actually should have done the same thing with this end. So let me go through to the two 11/0 seed beads, the 4mm round, and the two 11/0 seed beads on this side. that. Let me put it down and I'll show you. I hope you can see it and it's not too confusing. So now that we've attached the guardian, we're simply going to weave in and out of the beads to reinforce the entire thing. And you can do one thread at a time at this point. You don't have to work with both needles. So I can just leave this one here and work with this one. I'm going to go through the 4mm pearl, through the 2 11/0 seed beads like this, and then up through the 6mm, and again through the 2 11/0 seed beads, the 4mm round, and the other 2 11/0 seed beads. And now up to 6mm. So I'm just zigzagging back and forth. So basically I went through the 4mm round, the 2 11/0s, up this 6mm round, these 2 11/0s, 4mm round and 2 11/0s, and then back down the 6mm round. So I'm kind of zigzagging in and out. And I'm going to continue doing the same thing a couple of times until I reinforce the whole choker. And at some point I'm going to run out of thread and I'm going to have to tie it off and add some new thread. Now you can do the same exact thing with this other needle. You can go in and out just like I did with the previous needle, or you can just tie it off and work with one needle only or one thread. But for the time being, I'm going to keep going until I run out of thread, and then I'll come back and show you how to add new thread. So once again, I'm going in through these 2 11/0s, the 4mm round, the 2 11/0s on the other side, going through the 6mm round or pearl, the 2 11/0s, the 4mm pearl, and the other 2 11/0s, and then through the 6mm pearl, okay, I'm almost out of thread, so I'm going to stop and I'm going to work with the other thread now. So I'm right back at the beginning. I'm exiting out of these 2 11/0s, so I'm going to go through the 4mm round, the other 2 11/0s on the other side, the 6mm pearl, the 2 11/0s, the 4mm pearl, and the other 2 11/0s, the 6mm pearl, so let me keep going until this thread gets short. Okay, as you can see, I've reached the end of this thread. I don't have that much left. So now I'm going to tie on a new thread. And I'm going to cut off another wingspan worth of thread, which is about 60 inches. And I'm simply going to tie it onto this end. I'm going to do an overhand knot, and I'm going to go through the loop 2 times. Let's see if I can get it done here. And you want that knot to be nice and small. So there's my knot. I'm going to snip off the tails. leaving just a little bit, like this. As you can see, I threaded my needle back on, and I don't know what happened, but the camera shut off and I missed showing you some steps. But basically I threaded the needle back on and zigzagged in and out of some beads, and now I'm coming out of this one. So it's the same thing, guys. I'm not doing anything different. I'm going to go through the 211 O's, the 4mm pearl, and the other 211 O's like this. I'm passing the needle through. And there's my knot. And the knot should go through just fine. You may have a little difficulty at times, depending on how much space you have in the beads. That one went through just fine. There's the knot. Hopefully it'll go through. And it did. So I'm going to keep going with this thread until I reinforce the whole thing at least 2 or 3 times, and then I'll come back and add some thread to this one and do the exact same thing, because you want to give it body and you want to make sure that it's nice and secure. So I'm going to keep going with this thread until I reach the end where the wire guard is, or the thread guard. Okay, I'm at the end now, and I'm coming out of the 6mm pearl. So now I'm going to reinforce the wire guard. I'm going to go through these 211 O's, the 4mm pearl, and the other 211 O's. And now I'm going to go through the 4mm pearl. And now I need to go through these 211 O's. It's a little tricky because it's kind of tight up here. Let me see if I can get it through. Let me try a different angle. As you can see, I'm going through the 211 O's, and now I'm going up the leg of this guardian. And down the other end, and through the 211 O's. As you can see, I'm coming out of these 2 now. So now I'm going to go through the pearl again, the 4mm pearl, and the 211 O's on this side. And that's basically it, guys. So now I'm going to repeat the entire thing. I'm going to keep going down with the same thread. And then I'll add some thread to this one and do the same thing. I do want to reinforce this end as well, okay? So I may need to add some thread to do that. But let me keep going until I run out of thread, and then I'll come back and show you how to tie them off. Okay, I'm back, and I've gone through the entire choker about 3 times. And at this point, it has pretty good body. It's not floppy at all. I really love this effect because it kind of looks like lace. It has a little bit of scalloping. The entire thing from one end to the other measures about 12.5 inches. So let me go over what I did again. Let me just arrange it like this so you can see the ends. If you recall, we started at this end by attaching the wire guardian, and then we traveled all the way down to the other end until we got the length that we wanted. And then after attaching the second wire guardian, I started traveling back the other way. At that point, I added new thread, and I continued the same path with one of them. I left the other one behind, and when I got to this end, I turned around and came back again, all the way around to this end again, turned around, went back again, and that's where I ended up. And I pretty much did the same thing with the other one. So each thread traveled through the wire guardian twice. So there's a total of 4 loops of thread in each wire guardian, and that should be sufficient. So now we need to tie each one off. So basically what I'm going to do is find a thread bridge somewhere. There's one right there. I'm going to pull until I get a small loop. And now I'm going to go through this loop and I'm going to pull on it. And now I'm going to move away from this knot. I'm going to go through these 2 seed beads and exit out the 4mm pearl and go through these other 2 seed beads. And now I'm going to find another thread bridge, this one right there, go through the loop and pull, go through this pearl, and pull, go through these 2 11-0 seed beads, the 4mm pearl, and these other 2 11-0 seed beads, find another thread bridge, go through the loop, and now I'm going to go through this pearl, and that should be good enough. That's enough reinforcement. So now I'm going to cut off my tail. And that's all there is to it. So now I'm going to do the same thing with this one. So we're done with the most difficult part. I know a lot of people have a tough time bead weaving, but this is actually a very easy project. And if you're new at this is the perfect project to get started on bead weaving. So now we're going to attach a pendant. Here's the pendant. I'm going to use some oval jump rings, and I like to use these for this project because the cut is in the middle of the jump ring, so there's less of a chance that the thread will get caught in there. These actually don't spin around when they're in place, and that's why I like to use them. And now I need to find the center of this choker necklace. I have 29 of the 6mm rounds, which means that I need to attach the pendant under bead number 15. And I definitely don't want to get this wrong, so I'm going to count them. So it's this one right here. Let me open up this jump ring. Let me flip it this way. I'm simply going to open it like this. They open the same way as regular jump rings. I want to make sure that opening is nice and big. And now I'm going to attach it to the choker necklace first. Just like that. Slide on the pendant. like this. It's a little tricky. And now let me close up this jump ring. So there it is attached. Now you could use a wire guardian instead of a jump ring if you wanted to, but that's a lot of fiddling around and you'd have to sew in and out of it to secure it. I thought the jump ring was a good option, and it looks a little bit cleaner. Let me open up this one now. They are a little tricky to open because, like I said, the cut is on the side of the jump ring. So now let me slide it onto the choker necklace first. Just like that. And now I'm going to slide the pendant onto the jump ring. I know it's difficult to see, but it's on there. Now let me close it up. So there it is attached, and I think it looks really cute. I really like it. Now before I attach the chain, I'm going to attach a clasp. Here's my lobster clasp, and I have two 6mm jump rings. And since this is a choker necklace, I think what I'll do is attach an extended chain. Here's an extended chain, and here's a 6mm pearl. I have a ball head pin here. I'm going to thread it through the pearl. Using my round nose pliers, I'm going to grab the pin right where the bead is, kink it, switch to this part, take the tail, wrap it around the nose of the pliers, flip the pliers around, continue to wrap to the back. I'm going to slide the chain into the loop that I just created. And now I'm going to grab that loop with some skinny pliers. I like to use these because they have a very skinny tip and they grab really well. And now I'm going to grab the tail and do some wraps. You can do as many wraps as you want. Using my flush cutters, I'm going to snip off the excess pen. Tuck in whatever sharp end you see. You don't want any sharp ends. So there's my extended chain. Let me open up one of these jump rings. Slide the extended chain into it. I'm going to attach it to this side of the necklace. This is the non-dominant side. Close up the jump ring. And now let me open up this one. Connect the lobster clasp. Connect it to this side. And close it up. So that part's done. And now I'm going to attach a piece of chain to the front for a little bit of embellishment and to make it look a little bit more trendy. Here's my chain. Like I said in the beginning, it's about 8 inches long. It's going to be connected something like this, but I need to make a dangle for the bottom of it. So here's a 6mm pearl and a 4mm pearl and a head pin. This is a ball head pin. I'm going to slide the 6mm pearl onto it first, and then the 4mm pearl. I'm going to grab the pin with my round nose pliers, kink it, switch to this part, take the tail, wrap it around the nose of the pliers, flip the pliers around, continue to wrap to the back. And now I need to find the center of this chain. To find the center, I usually thread a head pin through one end like this, and then through the other end, like this. And that's an easy way to find the center. And I believe it's this link right here. Let me double check. I actually need to remove one link, so let me do that. I'm going to remove this one. And these links are not soldered, so I can actually open it. So now I'm going to slide my dangle into that center link. Just like that. And now I'm going to grab the loop, grab the tail, and do some wraps. Snip off the excess pin. Tuck in the little sharp end. And there's my dangle. And now I just need to figure out where I'm going to attach it. And I'm just going to eyeball it. I think I'm going to attach it somewhere around here. I have 2 more oval jump rings. Let me open this one up. Let's see if I can get it on here. So there it is. And now I'm going to slide the last link of the chain into the jump ring. Just like that. They are a bit tricky to close because of the angle, and I don't have much space here. Let me open up this jump ring now. So now let me see where I'm going to connect it. I think I have to connect it in this spot right here. And now I need to connect the chain. I'm sliding the last link into the jump ring, just like that. Let me close it up. So that's what it looks like. I think it's super adorable. Now initially I was going to add more chain swags for a more burlesque look, but I'd rather keep it like this and have it more minimalist. It's always a challenge arranging necklaces on my board, but I think you get the idea. If you'll notice, the choker has a lot of body. It stands up by itself, which is what you want. And I want to definitely put it on and show you what it looks like. But before we do, we have to make a pair of earrings. So let me get the materials for that. Here are the materials for the earrings. As you can see, I've already built one. And I know what you're saying. You're probably saying the earrings are gold, but the necklace doesn't have any gold on it. I realize that, but I couldn't resist using these pretty connectors. You actually don't see the gold very much because of the zirconia crystals. And this just gives you an idea, guys. I recommend that you go out and find yourself a connector that's silver, maybe something similar to these, but I'm sure it's going to be difficult to find the exact ones. These are so gorgeous. But as you can see, I'm using the same pearls that I used on the necklace. I'm also using stainless steel ear wire hooks. So between those two things and these zirconia crystals that are covering up most of the gold, you're not even going to realize that the metals are different. But anyway, let me go ahead and assemble it. I'm going to load a 6mm bead onto the pin and then a 4mm pearl. And once again, I'm going to grab the pin with my round nose pliers, kink it, switch to this part, wrap the tail around the nose, flip the pliers around, continue to wrap to the back, slide it onto the connector, grab the loop, grab the tail, and do wraps. Snip off the excess. Tuck in the sharp end. Open up this loop. Slide the earring onto it. Make sure you slide it the right way. And close it up. So there are my two earrings. And now let me get the choker necklace and I'll arrange everything on my mat. So here's the choker necklace and earring set using those beautiful pearls. I think it looks gorgeous, I really do. And I think the chain makes it look a little bit more informal. What do you think, guys? Of course, you don't have to attach the chain and then you get a whole different look. Let me slide my mat up so you can see the bottom. There's the bottom. And now let me slide it down. There's the top. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. And for those of you who have never done bead weaving, I hope this project motivates you to try it. It really is pretty easy and you shouldn't feel intimidated to try it. So anyway, as always, I'd like to go ahead and put this necklace on. So I'll see you in a few moments. Well, do you like this necklace? I certainly do. I think it's really beautiful, and I think the chain feature really adds to it because it makes it look a little bit more unique. And like I said, I think it makes it look trendy as well. So anyway, guys, I hope I've inspired you. I hope you can make your own necklace. I hope I've encouraged you to do some bead weaving if you've never tried it. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.